But the best reason General Talley is the most appropriate leader to speak to you today is because he is a strategic leader who has walked your path, the path you just completed. He is a proud graduate of the U.S. Army War College class of 2003, so today he celebrates his 10th anniversary with you. So knowing that, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm U.S. Army War College class of 2013 welcome to Lieutenant General Jeffrey W. Talley.
Well, good morning, graduating class of 2013, and a special welcome to your family and friends and the distinguished guests who are here today to celebrate this joyous occasion. General Kugolo, Tony, thank you for those warm and overly generous introductory remarks. Yes, I've been to school for a while, and I've had a lot of jobs, and as our kids used to ask Linda, why does Dad go to school so much? She would say, well, he's not real smart. It takes him a long time to learn things. What an honor it is for Linda and I to be here today. As was mentioned, we sat where you sit 10 years ago, and we were thinking about this on the drive up late last night. Since we've graduated from the War College, we've moved 5 times. We've endured multiple deployments. We've had the pleasure of being a command team at the group, brigade, and division level. We've had 2 tours in the Pentagon. That's not so great. And absolutely amazing to me that we've been able to do all this in the last 10 years, especially since I really remember struggling through the Army War College and graduating near the bottom of the class. So just amazing to me to be back here. The fact that you're graduating and completing your activities and studies here really won't set in. For me, it was about a year later waiting for them to post your name up outside, and then you come back and you look to see, did they grind it off for some reason, or did it actually get up there and stay up there? And then you kind of stare at it and say, well, I guess it's official. So even though today you'll all get your diplomas and your degrees, it really won't be official till you see your name up on that plaque outside, and then occasionally you need to check on it to make sure that they keep it up there. And then it's really remarkable to go down through history and see all the great leaders of all of our services and components that have been through the Army War College. It's quite humbling, to be frank. But I want to begin by acknowledging the outstanding faculty and staff who have worked so hard to teach you and to facilitate the serious discussions that you've had in your seminar groups and as a class. But equally important are the special relationships that you formed with your classmates. I'd like you to take a minute and look around and notice that first off, the total Army is here. You're very well represented by the active component, the Army National Guard, the Army Reserve. You also are represented by the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force, as well as 11 civilians from within and outside the Department of Defense, to include the great Department of State. You have 4 international fellows. This diversity of your class is the real education. And I hope that not only did you take advantage of those relationships during your time here, that you'll make the effort to stay in touch with each other and continue to learn and share together as you move forward. Now, the short message that I want to leave you with today is actually a challenge, and it's the same challenge that was issued to my class of 2003 by then Secretary General Powell. What's the challenge? The challenge I'd like to provide is, I need you to consider when you leave here to get outside of your regiment, to get outside of your service, to get outside of your comfort zone. As you manage your careers moving forward, you need to work to find those broadening assignments that will make you a better leader. You need to take those tough assignments that'll make you do something different than what you've done before. I already hear one classmate crying about that, but you just got to do it, okay? You got to get out of that comfort zone. You might cry from time to time, but you got to get out of that comfort zone. So when I came to the War College, I came here directly from, I actually did the first resident phase, and then we had the invasion into Iraq, and so I deployed. I was the chops of a division. And then I came back to finish the second part after Baghdad had fallen, and we had, I won't say stability, but we had at least major combat operations had slowed down or had changed to a next phase. And so when I came here, I was sitting in my final seminar group, and I listened to what Colin Powell had told our group, and I thought about, gee, what am I going to do next in the Army? And somebody came to me and said, you know, would you consider being on the Joint Staff up in the Pentagon? And I said, no way, I don't want to go to the Pentagon. Why would I want to go to the Pentagon? And they said, well, you can do that strategic stuff, you know, all the things that you learned or should have learned in the War College. Would you accept a nomination to be the Joint Engineer in the J4? I said, you know, yeah, I'm going to get outside my comfort zone. I've never done that. I'll do that. So I went to the Pentagon. I reported in. I remember I was a lieutenant colonel. I reported into the J1. A colonel showed up and said, hey, Talley, follow me. I said, yes, sir. It must be the sponsor. Followed the colonel down the hallway. We're walking down past the CMC in the Pentagon. I said, hey, sir, wait a minute. I think the J4 on the Joint Staff's this way. He says, yeah, I got it. Follow me, Colonel. You've been reassigned. I said, sir, I think there's a mistake here. Reserve guy, engineer, Joint J4. He goes, yeah, I got it. Follow me. So I walk into what was called the War on Terrorism Directorate, which was a special directorate created at that time to fight the war on terror. And a guy named Vince Brooks, who just got promoted to 4 stars and is now the commanding general for U.S. Army Pacific, who is going to be my new boss, who was in sweatpants, called me into his office and said, do you know who I am? And I said, yes, sir, you're Vince Brooks. I used to see you on TV during the invasion when I could get a chance to see the television. And he says, yeah, we've looked at your file. You're going to be reassigned to the J5 War on Terrorism Directorate as a Joint Strategic Planner. And I said, no, you got this all wrong, sir. Engineer. I wanted to get outside my regiment, but not really. I wanted to stay engineer and stay focused with maneuver units. So after a short discussion, he says, well, you just came back from Baghdad. You got an academic background. I'm looking for someone that can kind of think outside the norm in the office, because everybody in that office was special operators. So all the Army guys were Green Berets. All the Navy guys were SEALs. I was the only reservist, and I was not special ops. To make a long story short, what a great assignment for me. It's one of the few jobs I've had where every day I thought I was going to get fired, because every day they would give me an assignment that I felt completely incapable of completing. When I finished that assignment, I wanted to get out of the Pentagon as fast as I could, so I got lucky and got selected for 06 Command, and that was your ticket out of there. Because if you work the Joint Staff long and hard, what happens is you start working the hallways to try to get to the services because you think it's easier and brighter on the other side of the fence. But the main way to get out is to get on the 06 list. So I got out and went to Group Command. And anyway, fast forward a few years, a couple more deployments. I got promoted to general, and I remember I was going through charm school. Now, there's 3 versions of charm school in the Army. I just call it basic, intermediate, and advanced. And the intermediate charm school was at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, in the business school. General Casey was our chief of staff of the Army. So he comes up and he addresses the class, small class, and he says, hey, Talley, get up here. Yes, Chief. So I get up there, and I'm in front of all the fellow GOs in the charm school class, and he goes, General Talley is exactly the kind of leader we don't want in our Army. I said, sir? He said, he spent his entire career in O&F land, operational functional commands. He's always been in engineers. If he wasn't engineers, he's serving infantry units and maneuver units. That doesn't make you a broad leader. It makes you a tired leader. In fact, he's going to come out early on the 2-star list, and we're going to send him to a training command. I said, training command? You've got to be kidding me. Because one thing I learned when I was a young officer in the regular Army is you avoid the 3 R's, right? You stay away from reserves, recruiting, and ROTC. That's what I was taught when I was a young active component officer. And I said, hey, sir, I thought I did a good job in 4th ID. I thought General Austin in P4, that would be General Petraeus, I thought we all did good. I thought we had success in Solder City. What's going on here? 2-star command, training command? Really? You got to be kidding me. He says, that's the Kool-Aid I'm serving, and you're going to drink it. I said, well, it tastes pretty good, sir. So I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky to take a training command. I had never been in any unit outside an operational functional unit my entire career. So now I'm responsible for doing CTC-like exercises for the entire Army Reserve and for the enablers not only in the National Guard but in the active Army. and I had to look and focus on all regiments and all specialties within the Army, as well as those in the joint services that participated in our exercises. First 6 months, I hated it. It was like a different Army. I used to bug General Casey every chance I'd see him. Sir, can I get back into combat? Can you send me back to ONF land? He would say things to me that I can't repeat publicly. A year into the job, I said, wow, I was wrong. The chief was right. This is a great assignment. It's making me a better leader. It's making me appreciate all of our components, all of our regiments, all of our services in a new way that I had never experienced. I can honestly say it made me a better person. It made me a better officer. It made me a better soldier. I can honestly also say that I've never gotten any assignment I've asked for in my entire 31 years in the United States Army, except one. I did ask to go to Korea in 2nd Infantry Division, and a branch said, hey, we got a live one. He wants to go to Korea. But other than going to Korea and turning down a command sponsorship assignment in Heidelberg, Linda still doesn't forgive me for this. That was an unaccompanied assignment in 2nd ID. I've never gotten an assignment, but you know what? The Army's always done me right and always given me great opportunities to grow and to serve others. So I would like you to remember my challenge and search out those opportunities for you. Figure out how can you become a better, broader leader. Serve in the interagency. Serve outside of your regiment. Serve outside of your component. Serve outside of your service. And the America and our armed forces will be better served for you doing so. Finally, as you continue to work hard and lead, remember to keep things in perspective. I think this is kind of what the Commandant was talking about with some regard, is referring to moral courage. You got to maintain balance in your life. You have to have a physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional balance. You can't lead others if you're not in balance. So in closing, because all you'll remember about the commencement speech was it long or short? Trust me, it's short. I want you to accept my sincere congratulations on completing your requirements for your Army War College diploma and soon to receive your master's degree in strategic studies. Although the world is still a dangerous and complex place, I do find great assurance and comfort, and I'm humbled by the presence of so many great leaders of all our components, of all of our services, because it's going to take all of our total force, to include our great civilian force, to stay ahead of our enemies in the complex environment that we're going to find ourselves in as a nation and in fighting and serving with our allies. But remember what got you to this special point in your career. Likely it isn't you. It was the help of others, especially the loving support of your family and friends. Don't miss the opportunity to thank them today and to thank them every day, because it's those family and friends that are the real heroes of our armed forces. Thanks for allowing me to be part of this important ceremony, and may God bless each one of you and your families. May God continue to bless the United States of America and our allies. Army strong.